Hi class, Professor Viersen here. I want to quickly go over problem number 4-39A. And so I'm going to begin with the fact that we're going to first compute the plant-wide rate, which will be the total manufacturing overhead, which all of the information comes from the scenario and of course from our data table. And I'm going to divide that then by the total direct labor hours because it tells us that's what our allocation base is in the scenario. Filling in the numbers for this, 1120, 123, 1,120,000, 15,500 direct labor hours. And so we have a total of $72 per direct labor for the plant-wide rate. Next, we're going to calculate the departmental allocation rate for each the machine department and the assembly department. So here we're going to take the department overhead costs and we're going to divide it by the department allocation base. Okay, so that is correct. And for the machining department, it tells us that we have a total of $670,000 in overhead. Our allocation base is machine hours, and we estimate there's a total of 10,000 hours during the year, which means our allocation rate is $67. Doing the same for the assembly department, $450,000. We have a total of estimated 12,000 direct labor, and so our assembly department has an overhead rate of $38 per hour. Okay, going to step number 3 then, we're obviously going to have more resources for job 501 because we use up more machine hours. We'll check that out. Okay, and then again, job 501 uses more machine hours than the other job. The counting system shows that one job actually costs the company more resources, and that's why you would use the department overhead rates instead of the plant-wide rates. Jumping over to requirement number 4 then, we're going to put in what would be the overhead using the plant-wide rate, and as you can see there's 19 total direct labor hours. If you look at both of these, job 500, you have 4 direct labor hours in machining, 15 in assembly, so it's 19. The plant-wide rate was $72 per direct labor hour. Multiplying those two together is $1,368. 1368. Check the answer. Nice work. Requirement number 5. Now we're going to separate it into the different departments. Job 500 has 603 in the machining department, and that would be $67 per machine hour times, notice that they have 9 machine hours, so that's where 603 comes from. Job 501 is a total of $1,206 because, again, 67 machine hours, and they used 18 machine hours to complete this particular job. $570 for the assembly department, and that's going to be $38 an hour times the 15 hours which they both used in the assembly department. Again, you look at your data table. We added these two together, 1173, and then of course the very patriotic number of 1776. Moving right ahead, requirement number 6, we're going to say the single plant-wide rate assigned the same amount of overhead to both jobs, while the departmental rate had more overhead costs to job 501 than job 500 due to the fact that there were extra machine hours, and this would only seem more fair when you're assigning the cost. Okay, requirement 7, job 500, you have $1,000 worth of material that's given to you on the data table. The direct labor is $25 an hour times the 19 hours. They both used 19 hours if you remember from our previous questions. So $25 times 19 is $475. And then we carry down our overhead that we calculated in step 4, I believe it is. Yeah, step 4. This is for the plant-wide rate. So they had the same amount plant-wide rate, adding our 3 manufacturing costs, $28.34. Oops, $28.43. There's a little mistake. $28.43. It says in this particular scenario, again from the table, that we want to have a 10% markup. So we're going to multiply by 110%, making our sales price $31.27. $31.27. Now we have just 2 more steps to complete. The first one is now based on this allocation rate, we're going to calculate the gross profit. So in the previous step, we have $31.27 is going to be the sales price, $31.27. Our manufacturing cost of $28.43 from one of the previous steps, $28.43. Gross profit then for each of these jobs is $284. And hopefully you're recognizing that since one job used up more resources, you shouldn't have the same amount of profit. You have to divide it up differently. And that's what step 8 does. It divides everything up differently. The sales price remains the same, $31.27. $31.27. Direct material stays the same. We're only changing the manufacturing overhead. Direct labor stays the same. And now we're going to use the manufacturing overhead where we combine the 2 departments, which we did in step 5, 1776. Adding all the costs together, $26.48. Adding all the costs together for job number 501, we have more total cost because the manufacturing overhead is more. And now it shows you why you probably want to use a department rate, because one job actually is showing a negative number, which you can use parentheses or a negative number. And that's the whole point, to show you the difference between what the gross profit is using one type of allocation versus the other. And just to finish this off, utilizing a single rate allocation, Tarzan believes, or Tihan believes, that both jobs are equally profitable. When you use the departmental rates, it shows that job 500 is profitable, but job 501 is not. Okay, that's it for now. Good luck.